Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about baking sheets and baking pans, and we'd like to thank Sheila Belts for liking and sharing the podcast. Historians say some of the oldest evidence of an oven dates back around 6,500 years. Ancient Egyptians were baking food and developed bread baking techniques that date back to 2600 BC. Pliny the Elder, the Roman historian, said there were professional bakers in Rome around 200 BC, and around 200 AD in Rome, bakers formed trade associations with rules and regulations for the training that was needed to become a professional baker.
Wow.
Interesting, huh?
Ancient Egypt and Pliny the Elder today. It's going to be a good day. What's the difference between a cookie sheet and a baking sheet?
In general, a baking sheet or a sheet pan is a rectangular pan with a small raised edge on all four sides. A cookie sheet will have one edge or no edges, and then there are also baking pans that have a higher edge, about an inch tall on all four sides. I saw insulated cookie sheets that had a half-inch edge all the way around, but the terms seem to be interchangeable with some companies.
What is the benefit of not having an edge?
For cookie sheets with no edge, airflow is going to be better around your cookies, and it's going to be easier to remove them without breaking them.
Okay.
America's Test Kitchen did a test baking cookies in rimmed pans that had a 1-inch rim all the way around, and rimless pans. On the rimmed pans, the edges diverted the hot air, and they said it took 3 minutes longer to get the same doneness as rimless cookie sheets.
The terms edge, rim, and lip are all the same, right?
Right. And if you're primarily making cookies, a cookie sheet without an edge is going to be easier to slide your cookies onto a cooling rack. But if you plan on making a wide range of food in the oven, a rimmed baking sheet is going to be more versatile.
I have cookie sheets with a rim.
Okay.
So I guess that makes them baking sheets.
Right.
Anyways, when I make cookies, I use parchment paper on them. Then I can just easily slide the parchment paper off the cookie sheet onto the counter for the cookies to cool off on.
Right.
Then I could just throw out the parchment paper.
Yeah, that's cool. I looked up parchment paper. It's coated with silicone, making it non-stick, grease-proof, moisture-proof, and they say most are safe at temperatures up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit.
But you should check the label on the parchment paper that you're using.
Right. And because of the silicone coating, you can't recycle it. Some top-rated parchment paper companies are Wilton, W-I-L-T-O-N, Paper Chef, it's P-A-P-E-R-C-H-E-F, Reynolds, R-E-Y-N-O-L-D-S, Baker's Signature, B-A-K-E-R-S, capital S-I-G-N-A-T-U-R-E, and Great Value, it's G-R-E-A-T, capital V-A-L-U-E. When I was doing some of the research, there were quite a few questions about wax paper, and you wouldn't use wax paper in an oven because it'll melt or burn. You would use it to line a pan for cold items, or you'd cover up your countertop when you're working with ingredients.
Right.
What's nice about parchment paper is you can cut it to the size you need.
Right. I like to have it longer than the pan, so it's easier to grab the edges and then slide it off the pan.
Yeah, smart.
Thank you.
Another pan liner you can get is a silicone baking mat, and this was designed by a French baker in the 1960s. It's fiberglass covered with food-grade silicone. It's considered non-toxic like parchment paper. The baker called it Silpat, S-I-L-P-A-T. It'll withstand temperatures from negative 40 to 480 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can use it 3,000 times in an oven. But they say don't use it in a broiler or cut any items on it with a knife.
All right. You want to get a size that matches your baking sheet.
Right. What's great about a silicone mat is food isn't going to stick to it. It's going to keep your pans clean, and it eliminates the need for oils and grease for many recipes. Silicone mats are going to be thicker than parchment paper, so it's going to insulate the bottom of the food you're cooking. For some food, you want the bottoms brown, so parchment paper can be better than a silicone mat for some recipes. A couple cooks recommended parchment paper for potatoes and other vegetables. Mm-hmm. Some top-rated silicone mats come from Silpat. It's Silpat, and their mats are rated up to 480 degrees Fahrenheit. Kitzini, it's Kitzini. Their mats are rated up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And Mat, it's capital M, small case M-A-T. Theirs are rated up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Mm-hmm. And when I looked at Best Buy, most gas ranges and wall ovens go up to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, and the electric ranges I looked at went up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Exciting. What material are baking sheets made out of?
The most common materials for home cooks are aluminum, aluminized steel, and stainless steel. Aluminum is popular because it heats fast and it cools down fast. The disadvantage is it can react with acidic food, which will change the flavor of your food. You can get a metallic taste, and they recommend that you hand wash aluminum sheets. Aluminized steel is popular with professionals. It's durable, it transfers heat evenly, but because it has a coating of aluminum, it can react with acidic foods, and you have to hand wash it. Stainless steel is very durable, it's non-reactive with food, and it retains heat well. But it's slow to heat up, and it doesn't heat as evenly as aluminum, but it's dishwasher safe.
What about nonstick pans?
The three main types of nonstick coatings are ceramic, silicone, and PTFE. Ceramic and silicone are considered non-toxic. When you're cleaning them, you don't want to use steel wool or abrasive cleaners, and don't use nonstick sprays. You also don't want to put a hot ceramic-coated sheet in cold water. You want to allow them to cool off first.
Right.
PTFE is polytetrafluoroethylene. It was discovered accidentally in 1938 by a DuPont scientist while he was working on refrigerants. The Teflon name was trademarked in 1945. Chemours owns the Teflon brand name, so other companies have to use PTFE on their packaging instead of Teflon.
Right.
Healthline says PTFE has been studied for the last 10 years, and it's considered a stable compound for cooking at 500 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Over 500 degrees Fahrenheit, it can release fumes that can cause flu-like symptoms in many people, and a small number of people may have more severe effects, including lung damage.
Wow.
And they say the fumes can kill birds. Mm-hmm. Their tips: don't preheat empty pans or baking sheets. Use an exhaust fan when you're cooking or baking with PTFE. Use wood, silicone, or plastic utensils. Use a sponge and warm soapy water to clean the surfaces. Never use steel wool or scouring pads. If you have worn, scratched, flaking, or chipped cookware, replace it.
Okay. So on some packages it says no PFOS and no PFOA.
Right.
So, WTF?
There were some concerns about the negative health effects of these chemicals during the manufacturing of PTFE, but the EPA has an agreement with DuPont and other major manufacturers in the U.S. not to use these chemicals, but you have to be aware of imported products. They may have them in it, so you're looking for no PFOA or no PFOS. I read an article from the Misen company, it's M-I-S-E-N. They said PTFE is just a coating. It will eventually scratch or wear off and lose its non-stickiness, and you're going to need to replace it. They say don't believe any non-stick cookware is scratch-resistant or to last a lifetime. They recommend using a soft sponge and regular dish soap to clean PTFE sheets. Use a cloth or paper towel between your cookware when storing it to reduce wear on the surface, and keep your cooking temperatures below 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Cool. What are some common sizes in baking sheets?
So this can vary between companies and countries.
Exciting.
A baking sheet called a full sheet is 26 by 18 inches with a 1-inch edge, and this is for commercial kitchens. A 3/4 sheet, 21 by 15 inches. A half sheet is 18 by 13 inches. A 1/4 sheet, 13 by 9 inches, and an 1/8 sheet, 9.5 by 6.5 inches. And the edge can also vary in size.
Mm-hmm.
A jelly roll pan is usually 15 by 10 inches, and one of the first references in the U.S. of a jelly roll cake was in the 1850s. It was a sponge cake recipe, and it said, while the cake is still hot, spread jelly on top of it, carefully roll it up, then wrap it in a cloth. When it's cold, cut it into slices.
Apparently sheet pan dinners are very popular now.
Yeah, I guess that took off a few years ago online, and sheet pan supper cookbooks. So you have your meat and vegetables, everything in one pan. You throw it in the oven so you don't have a lot to clean up. And I looked up the recommended size for sheet pan dinners, and a half sheet, 18 by 13, was recommended by a few chefs.
All right.
America's Test Kitchen said look for tall, straight sides with defined corners for baking sheets, and match the inside dimension of the baking sheet to a wire rack that you're going to be using.
Why use a wire rack?
So you can use wire racks to cool off things like cookies, or you can use the wire rack inside your baking sheet for cooking meat and vegetables. It's going to give you better air circulation, and it's going to prevent food from burning and sticking to the sheet. And you can get kits that come with a baking sheet and a matching rack, or a baking sheet, a rack, and a silicone mat.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's cool. And when I was looking at some of the recommendations by America's Test Kitchen, they said if you get a rack that's too small, it can scratch the surface because it's moving around.
Oh, okay.
They say it's nice if it fits.
Cool.
The thicker the baking sheet is, the more durable it's going to be, and you're going to get less warping.
What causes warping?
So the bottom of baking sheets will expand faster than the sides, so it can twist the sheet while it's heating up in the oven, and then you'll hear it pop or bang. Some baking sheets will have a wire in the rim to help keep it from twisting.
How do you know the thickness if you're comparing?
Some of the top-rated baking sheets I saw were in the 10 to 18 gauge range, and some of the cookie sheets were 10 to 12 gauge. The lower the number, the thicker they are.
All right. The color of the baking sheet matters, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I read an article from the University of California, and they say lighter colored cookie sheets absorb less heat than darker colored sheets. They're recommending light colored sheets for cookies and darker colored sheets for pizza.
What are the best ways to clean baking sheets?
Martha Stewart recommends washing off baking sheets right away in hot, soapy water. Don't put them in cold water when they're still hot. The company Wilton says clean aluminum and nonstick cookie sheets and baking sheets in warm, soapy water with a soft cloth. If you have stubborn stains and burns, let the pan sit in warm, soapy water. Then make a paste with baking soda and vinegar. Spread it on the surface. Let it set for 30 minutes. Then scrub it with a damp cloth. Then rinse it with warm, soapy water. Baking soda and vinegar is recommended for aluminized steel, aluminum, non-stick surfaces, and stainless steel. Most companies recommend 1 part baking soda to 1 part vinegar. You would sprinkle baking soda all over the baking pan, then pour the vinegar on top of it, spread it around, and then let it set for around 30 minutes.
Cool.
Some top-rated companies for baking sheets and pans: Great Jones, Great, capital Jones, Misen, Misen, Caraway, Caraway, NutriChef, Nutrichef, Wilton, Wilton, USA Pan, letters USA, capital PAN, Volrath, Vollrath, Oxo, OXO, Williams Sonoma, Williams, capital SONOMA, Nordicware, Nordic, capital WARE, and Fat Daddios, FAT, capital DADDIOS.
Cool. Do you have anything else to add?
I think this is a good overview of some things to consider when you're shopping for baking sheets. I would also look at recipes that you plan on using. Some recipes have recommendations for a specific type of bakeware for the best results.
Right. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 16 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter @FixItCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.
Different.